Okay, guys, it's that time again where we are going to shop my stash. As you can see, there's still a lot of products in here. Normally, I would do the reviews on the previous months, like up there, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking a little rough today. So, we're gonna do it down here. Um, as you guys know, this holds all my Project Pan items as well. So, like, this is Project Pan, Project Pan, Project Pan, Project Pan, Project Pan, Project Pan. So none of this is leaving. This is Project Pan, so that's not leaving, but this just went in there, so that's not leaving. So, like, anything Project Pan is not leaving, but I am going to go through the items that I used over the past month. That were truly in my Shop My Stash, so you know how I like them. So, the first thing here is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush in the shade Parte. So, in the pan, it looks more like a nude shade, but on the cheeks, on me at least, it definitely comes off more pink. I did really, really like this blush. I thought it looked beautiful on my skin tone, but I will say that, definitely not what I was looking for when I put this in as a nude blush for the month. But that's okay. So, very pretty. I really liked the formula on this, and I would definitely use again. That came in BoxyCharm, 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 Project Pan, BoxyCharm. I already put all my new BoxyCharm items in here. I'll go over those in a minute. So the next product from last month is the Hard Candy highlighter in the shade Tiki. Now, I honestly don't think Hard Candy makes this anymore. I went to go look for it online. I could not find it. I went to look for it in store and I could not find it, which honestly makes me really sad because as you can see, I've used a ton of this. It is a gorgeous highlighter. This was the highlighter I wore most of the month. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's so subtle. It's so beautiful. And it's absolutely gorgeous on fair skin tones as well as darker skin tones. So I would highly recommend this. But unfortunately, I just don't think Hard Candy carries it anymore, which Hard Candy, what are you doing to me? But I did really enjoy it this month. The other highlighter I had in here was the Makeup Revolution Vivid Baked Highlighter in Golden Lights. This is a beautiful, like, golden shift highlighter. It's beautiful. As you can see, it is well loved, but I only wore this like 1 or 2 times this month. The Vivid Baked highlighters are intense. And this month I just kind of was looking for something more subtle. So, which is why, like I said, I use the Hard Candy one a lot more. But the few times I did use this, it was gorgeous, and I still really enjoy this. So, I took out the Jordana Sculpt and Go for my cream bronzer for the month. Mine is in the shade medium. And I used this a lot over the month. I will say that. First and foremost, I used to apply this like right to my skin and I always had a hard time with it. But what I did this past month was I would just take the brush and put it right on the brush and a stippling brush, the e.l.f. small stippling brush to be absolutely exact on what brush I was using. And I would put it directly on the brush and then I would put it onto my skin directly from the brush. And then I would blend it out with the brush. Sometimes if I went a little overboard, I would go over that with the sponge, but it looks absolutely beautiful. So, yeah. I did have these Marc Jacobs eyeliners in here. I don't know if it's because they're a small size or if I've just had them for too long or if I bought them dried out at TJ Maxx, but these were extremely dried out. They really hurt my eyes. Have never had a problem with my full-size Marc Jacobs eyeliner, so I really do think that, I may have bought duds, and that's okay, you know, it happens sometimes. But I did really like the shades, and I thought that for certain eye looks, the shades looked really good. So I would go and buy full sizes of these, but I am going to declutter these two from my collection just because they really hurt trying to put them on because of the fact that they're dried out. And I'm not even going to give these to anyone else because that would be me. All right. This was my blush palette that I picked out for the month. So I had the Tarte blush, but I also wanted to pick out a blush palette. This is the Makeup Revolution Ultra Blush Palette in the shade Hot Spice. So this is what the shades in here look like. Sorry, I'm trying not to blind you. So lots of really peachy shades, matte kind of with some glitter thrown in. And then there's these two like illuminating shades on the end. I really, really liked this blush palette, to be honest. I like looking at these, they all look the same, but going on the cheeks, they all kind of showed up a little bit differently. And I really actually enjoyed each shade each time that I picked a new shade. And then over here, these were beautiful. This one was kind of hard to build up on my skin tone, so I would say this is more of a highlighter than a blush. But I did use it as a blush. I just had to build it up a lot. But this shade, it was gorgeous. So I really, really did like this blush palette. And I'm excited to be able to pull this back into my rotation. But I do need to find something else for this rotation. So I did have the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette in Ring the Alarm this month. Unfortunately, I only ended up using this once, but the one time I used it, I adored it. You know, just between my Project Pan palettes, my BoxyCharm palette, and the fact that I had two palettes in my Shop My Stash, I just did not get to play with this as much as I wanted to this month. But the quality on this palette was definitely there. I did use half of the shades in here. Like I used Rush, I used Alert, I used Bomb Ass, I used Siren, I used Tamed, and I used a little bit of Secret as well. So I was trying to see which ones had obvious brush marks in it. And it was so much fun to use. I had such a great time using it. I used this on me and Adam's anniversary night when we went out to dinner, and the look amazing. I will actually link that video in the description box down below, so you guys can see it the way I did it. But really, really, really liked this palette. The other palette that I picked out was the Makeup Geek and Manny MUA collab. I did use this twice. I did like a cool tone purpley look with some more of the purple shades, like that one up in the corner. I know I use this like burgundy shade right here. I know I use this brown, and obviously I like use these two shades, and this shade was like my transition shade for everything, and this was my hat. Literally the only shade I did not use in this palette was this shade right here, because the second look I did, I used this shade. I used my Project Pan The Rock Chrome Matte, and then I used this shade down here, which I learned, I always thought it was like a green brown shift, but it was more like a green purple shift, so I could have used the whole palette that day, but you know, you live and you learn. But that was absolutely gorgeous as well, so really, really enjoyed that. And everything else in here is either Project Pan or BoxyCharm, so I'm not going to go over the Project Pan items again just because they've been in here for so long, but I will go over the products that I put in here because they are from my BoxyCharm, just in case you didn't see my BoxyCharm video. So I do have the Becca Hydra Mist setting powder in here from my BoxyCharm. I have these two glimmer eyeshadows from Ace Beauté. This one is in the shade Iced Latte, and this one is in the shade Cotton Candy. And then this is a lip liner by Steve Laurent, and it is in the shade Vogue. It's a really pretty like mauve color. I also have this Wander Beauty Glow Ahead Illuminating Face Oil, which I've really enjoyed so far. And I also got this Tarte Big Ego mascara in my BoxyCharm as well. So this is my new mascara, Until It Dies. I did just recently finish the CoverGirl So Lashy, so thankfully I was able to open this when it came in and be able to try it out for you for the BoxyCharm video. And I'm excited to use it literally until it dies. So it will just live right there until it dies. So let's go and pick out the new products for the month. So first things first, as you know, I do have the L'Oreal Pro Glow in my project pan, but I do want to pick another foundation for the month. I want to try to pick a more matte foundation to really test out the Wander Beauty Glow Oil. So I'm not going to touch my like BB creams and stuff over there for my Shop My Stash, but I'm looking at my more matte foundations. And I think I'm actually going to go with the Milani Conceal in Perfect Foundation in the shade 00B Light as my Shop My Stash foundation for the month, because I want to try using a matte foundation with the Wander Beauty Glow Oil. So I'm almost done with my concealer, so I do want to go ahead and pick a concealer for my Shop My Stash. And I think I'm actually gonna go with the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. They are discontinuing this, so I might as well pull it in for my Shop My Stash, and then once my CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous is complete, I will make this my new Project Pan concealer. So, okay, I do have a powder in my Project Pan and a loose powder and there from BoxyCharm, so I don't think I need another powder, to be honest with you. So I do have my bronzer in my Project Pan, which I really did not focus on this past month because I was loving the Jordana so much. So I don't think I'm going to pick out a bronzer this month or contour or anything, because I just really want to focus on the one in my Project Pan. But I do need to pick new blushes. I do think I want to go with the other Makeup Revolution blush palette that I have in the shade Sugar and Spice. This is what this one looks like. So as you can see, I have a little bit more of a color variation, although these two kind of look the same. But over here, I have a little bit more of a color variation, so I'm excited to play around with this. I loved the formula of the other palette a lot, so I'm excited to play around with this. But I do want to pick a single blush like I did last month. Let's fix that. And I think, honestly, I haven't used this blush in a while. It's the CoverGirl True Blend blush in the shade Light Rose. So I'm gonna pull that in as well. And I think that's it from this drawer. Highlighters. All right, so I'm gonna pick two highlighters again. I'm going to pick my Persona Cosmetic Cali Glow highlighter in the shade Zuma. That's what this one looks like. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like a nice soft gold champagne-y color, and it's so pretty on the cheeks. So that's going to be in the Project Pan. I keep saying Project Pan. Shop My Stash this month. I also want to pull in this Ofra highlighter that I got last month. I know it's new, so it doesn't really fall into the Shop My Stash all that well because it is a newer highlighter to me. This is the collab with Samantha March, and I only used it once this past month, and that really upsets me because I love Samantha March and I know her collab ends at the end of the month, and I wish I used it more to promote it more, but I'm stupid and I didn't. So I'm gonna use it this month. It is a combination of two of her favorite highlighters. The more pinky tone is the shade Pillow Talk, and the more yellowy gold tone is Star Island, and it's beautiful. Wish the packaging wasn't white, but what can you do? And I do want to pick a eyeshadow palette from this drawer this week. This has a lot of my smaller eyeshadow palettes. So like I have all my Milani ones right here. I have my CoverGirl. I have a bunch of e.l.f. I do want to put in the Persona Identity palette this month. This is what it looks like. It has a good mixture of warm tones and cool tones. I wanted to go with this palette this month because Persona just recently came out with the Identity 2 palette, and I want to purchase it because I love the color scheme, but I want to remind myself about the shadow formula before I go ahead and purchase it. So I'm bringing in the original Identity palette, and I was lucky enough to be able to get the Identity palette before they changed the packaging on the outside. I don't know what the new packaging looks like, but I love the old packaging. So, all right. Now we're going to go into the big drawer of eyeshadow palettes. I do want to bring in another one of the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill. This was in my BoxyCharm last month, so it was in my Shop My Stash last month, so I'm going to take that out so you don't see that. I do want to bring in another Jaclyn Hill Vault palette, though, just because I really enjoyed the Ring the Alarm palette. So I do want to bring in another one, and we're going into a more fall season. So I'm kind of thinking Armed and Gorgeous. I'm also really thinking Bling Boss, though, because it's only September. And so it's not like too fall yet. So I think I'm going to stick with my original pan and go with Bling Boss, which is all of the purples. You guys know how I feel about purple eyeshadows. They are some of my favorites. So I'm going to go with Bling Boss. And I have one more eyeshadow palette I want to pull in. So I have more eyeshadow palettes up here. I do want to bring in actually 2 more eyeshadow palettes. Wow. I'm kind of going eyeshadow palette happy this month. I do want to pull in my Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. I bought this basically right when it launched, and I've used it once. Legitimately once. So I wanted to pull this in and play around with it. It is all these gorgeous like orangey browns, warm nudes, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I do want to play around with this. I think I stopped playing with it because, you know, I'm more into cool tones, but I did purchase it. I do want to use my money. And then I am also pulling in the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. I tried this out once. I'm dropping stuff once last month, and I just want to play around with it some more. Hold on. This is what this one looks like. I'm still not sure how I feel about this one yet, because like I did say, I only used it once, and I used the shades Weekender, Breakaway, Smog. I want to say I used Good As Gone, maybe Riff. But I did not use a lot of the shadows to say whether or not I truly liked this palette or not. So I want to be able to play with it some more. It's got some warm tones. It's got some cool tones. It's got some more grungy colors over here. So excited to play around with this some more and see how I like it. All right, I'm going to put everything away. I generally don't pick this many eyeshadow palettes, so that's kind of weird of me. I try not to pick too many because I do have like my Project Pan eyeshadow palette. And then I generally have some eyeshadows from my BoxyCharm I need to put in here. So I don't know why I picked so many, to be honest with you. But hey, we all have those months. We're allowed them. So we're gonna kind of stick all that. Ooh, that actually fit nicely. So, and then my highlighters can go right there, and the blush can go right there. All right. that actually fit a lot more beautifully than I thought it would. I thought I was going to have to play around with it, but yeah, that's everything from that's in my Shop My Stash this month. This is everything in my daily makeup basket, including like my Project Pan items and the stuff I'm trying out for BoxyCharm. This is just what I put everything in that I want to focus on. And I really love this system. It works best for me personally. And I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.